Do you see these Democrats? This guy Padilla is a United States Senator in California. He barges into a press conference. How physical they get. Like at the Newark Detention Center. The ICE Detention Center. The Democrats barge their way in. They're physical. They're abusive. We're going to have a whole new generation of Democrats. I don't mean necessarily young, but necessarily violent. He could have contacted Noem and said he wanted to talk to her. He could have contacted Noem and said he wants to be at the press conference. If she says no, he can have his own press conference outside. She said she's tried to reach the governor, Governor No Brains. Emma said no nuts. You know, I don't like to say that, Mr. Producer. I'm talking about peanuts. What do you think I'm talking about? But it's incredible, America. You understand the elected Democrats are violent like their constituents. They're lawless like their constituents. Then they march across the Capitol building. They look like a bunch of homeless people. They're marching across the Capitol building, and we're confronting the Republican leadership. Confronting the Republican leadership over what? Now they're threatening if they take the House, they're going to gut ICE. So this is a Marxist party, as I've told you multiple times, that represents Islamists and antisemites. Obviously, Stalinists. Represents violent people, criminals. That's why they're always trying to get felons to vote. Get them registered and vote. They've given up on the American citizen. This is their constituency. So this guy, Senator Alex Padilla, he's trying to make, and he does, a drama moment, just like the governor there. I think they're all from Hollywood. They're all wannabe failures of actors and actresses. It's one crackpot after another. So I don't know how good this will be handled in audio. He was removed and he was handcuffed. He didn't even have his identification. They had no idea who he is. How dare you do this to a senator? And, if you do it to a senator, you can do anything else. This is the elitist. This is the ruling class. Let's give it a shot. Cut 18, go.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your head off.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't want to hear them talk about January 6th ever again. Never again. Never again. Here he is at a press conference after crashing Noem's press conference today. Now, he could have done this before. Cut 19, go.
I'm here in Los Angeles today, and I was here in the federal building, in the conference room, awaiting a scheduled briefing from federal officials as part of
That's not what he did. You could see the video, right, Mr. Producer? He wasn't sitting in the audience or anything of the sort. He was trying to break into the news conference. It had begun, and the door opens, and he walks in like he's walking to the podium. That's what I saw, Rich. Isn't that what you saw? He ran towards her. He ran towards her. And, of course, her security stopped him. I mean, these people are horrendous. And what the Republicans should do in the Senate is take action against this man. They should take action. Because, the Palestinian senator, as the president rightly calls him, Schmuck Schumer, he goes to the floor of the Senate and he's indignant. He's indignant about what? It's just like the Democrats and the mayor of Newark. They're indignant. They're the ones who crashed illegally, trespassed, forced their way in to the detention center, the ICE detention center. By the way, we have some great audio clips, don't we, Rich? Great clips. Sanctuary policies. This Elise Stefanik is a superstar. Didn't she make mincemeat of the governor of New York, Mr. Producer, Hochul? We have that here, don't we? Some of it anyway. Unbelievable. Rips her to shreds. But one thing at a time here. One thing at a time. So the problem here is that the Democrats reflect their violent base, and the violent base reflects the Democrats. And the violent base represents the judges, too. I would ask the judges in Washington, D.C., are you okay with this judge in New Jersey who says Mahmoud Khalil can't be deported based on the Secretary of State's determination? You okay with that? Even though he was involved in multiple times as a leader of what turned out to be very violent activities at Columbia. And, of course, Reuters has said that he was a student. He wasn't a student any longer. Those are the doggies barking. I love it when they bark. The problem is when they don't bark. The problem is when they don't bark. Then you get a problem. This was just too good, folks. So we're going to listen in on some of this because most of you are working during the day. Most of those who aren't listening to this program. But I want you to hear some of this. I want you to hear Elise Stefanik at a hearing on sanctuary states. Sanctuary states. And she lets into Kathy Hochul, the current governor, who she hopes to run against, and I hope she does, because she would be a fantastic governor. But this is Stefanik. Cut 10, go.
Governor Hochul, on your first day in office, you signed Executive Order 1. Is that correct?
I believe it is.
And you extended this executive order not once, not twice, but 3 times, most recently January 16th of this year. Is that correct?
If that's what your facts show, I signed countless executive orders.
I would assume you'd know it's Executive Order 1. And this is a continuation of your predecessor's sanctuary state policies, correct? Is included in that.
I want to be sure we are defining sanctuary state properly.
I'll define it for you. It is the policy of the state that state officers or employees shall not disclose information to federal immigration authorities for the purpose of federal civil immigration enforcement. It goes on to say law enforcement officers may not use resources, equipment, or personnel for the purpose of detecting and apprehending any individual suspected or wanted for violating a civil immigration office. Law enforcement officers have no authority in the state of New York to take any policy action solely because the person is an undocumented alien. That's a quote in your executive orders that you extended. Now, do you know who Sakir Akan is?
I want to get back to the first part.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you know who Sakir Akan is?
I want to make sure you understand that this simply says that we will cooperate with ICE.
No, it does not say that. I read what it says, and let me talk to you about the results. Do you know who Sakir Akan is? You should, as the governor of New York State. Do you know?
Refresh my recollection.
He was an illegal migrant in New York. And do you know what crime he committed in addition to being here illegally?
No, I do not.
You do not. This was widely reported. He found a 15-year-old girl, threatened her with a metal pole, told her to get into the back seat of his car. He took her clothes off, and he violently raped her in Albany, New York. Do you know who Sebastian Zapita Khalil is?
I'm sure you'll tell me there's many cases, whether they're
These are high-profile cases. Yes. New Yorkers know about them, and you don't. So let's talk about Sebastian Zapita Khalil. Do you know who that is?
I don't have the specific details at my disposal, no.
Well, this is an illegal migrant in New York because of your sanctuary state policies. Do you know what crime he committed?
I'm not familiar at this moment.
I bet you're going to be familiar when I remind you. He found a sleeping woman on the subway, lit her on fire, and burned her alive. This is in Kathy Hochul's New York. And as I'm sure you are aware, and I'll remind you, that ICE issued an order to detain this violent criminal, but that was rejected by New York officials due to sanctuary state laws. Now, do you know who Raymond Rojas Basilio is?
I just want to say this. These crimes are horrific.
Because of your sanctuary state policies.
In all of these cases, we would work with ICE to remove them.
You did not in this case. They are walking on the streets because of your policies and your executive order that you signed 3 times. Now, Raymond Rojas Basilio, do you know who that is?
I'm telling you this. I will explain you the policies of New York. We cooperate with. I know you're just trying to.
You do not. Specifically, ICE was told not to detain this individual, and he burned a woman alive on the New York subways in Kathy Hochul's New York. So I will keep on going. What about Raymond Rojas Basilio? Do you know who that is?
I'm going to tell you our overall policy, which will address all this.
I'll tell you who that is. He is an illegal who molested an 11-year-old in our state because, again, of your sanctuary state policies. This illegal was shielded from federal immigration enforcement and able to commit this heinous crime. And what about Wilson Castillo Diaz? Do you know who that is?
I'm telling you this. We do cooperate fully with ICE in criminal prosecution. Our sanctuary
You're not advocating for these victims.
Only deal
this
with
is a 5-year-old who was raped on Long Island in Nassau County. You are not advocating on behalf of these victims. You are shielding illegals. Even in your opening statement, you prioritize putting illegals first.
That is not
Rapes
true.
of young girls, beatings of NYPD cops by illegals who are here under Kathy Hochul's failed policies, burning New Yorkers alive. This is Kathy Hochul's New York. It's one of the many reasons why you're hemorrhaging support from hardworking New York
These are
families.
horrific
All right,
crimes.
that's she's fantastic, and Hochul is a buffoon.
Watch.
And she was not going to allow her to escape. There's lots more when we return. We have Byron Donalds, we have Nick Langworthy, we have Jim Jordan. They just eviscerated these governors. We'll be right back. Oh, excuse me, I've got 5 minutes. I forgot, I broke early. Sorry, folks, I'm a quasi-professional. Let's take a listen to Jim Jordan, to Kathy Hochul, again today at the Sanctuary States hearing. Cut 12, go.
Governor Hochul, third paragraph, second sentence in your written testimony, you said New York State cooperates with U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement in criminal cases. Governor, who's Jesus Romero Hernandez?
Thank you. I want to reaffirm that we do cooperate in cases where...
That wasn't the question. I just read your statement. I can read your statement. Who is Jesus Romero Hernandez?
I don't have the details on every single person in the state of 20 million people.
I understand, but this guy's a citizen of Mexico, deported 7 times, came to your state, assaulted one of your residents with a machete, choked a police officer, then when he was in custody, assaulted a corrections officer. ICE finds out this guy is in your state's custody, and they send you a detainer. You're familiar with a detainer, right?
Yes, I am.
Notice of action, immigration detainer to Tompkins County Jail from Syracuse Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. Section 1, they check a couple boxes. The first one they check is a final order of removal against the alien has taken place. That means a court has said this guy needs to go. This machete-wielding, cop-choking, corrections officer assaulting guy needs to go. Then they also check another box and they say biometric confirmation of who this individual is, this alien's identity. So they got the right guy, and a court has said he needs to go. Any idea what Tompkins County Jail decided to do with that detainer order?
I will tell you this. The state of...
It's a specific question.
No,
what did Tompkins County do?
The descriptions you have put forth are absolutely chilling and disturbing and reprehensible to all of us. My job is to protect the people of New York.
The question. What did Tompkins County do?
What I have responsibility for,
I will tell you, since you're not going to answer. We cannot and will not hold Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah.
We can't keep the machete guy who had choked a police officer and assaulted a corrections officer. We can't keep him. In fact, we have the back and forth from Tompkins County and ICE on January 28th of this year, 8:56 p.m., Tompkins County tells ICE, we're not going to hold this guy. 7 minutes later, ICE responds back, we will be there to take custody this evening. 24 minutes later, Thompson County reiterates, we're not going to have him. We're not going to turn him over. 10:45. ICE arrives at the jail. 1 hour and 18 minutes later, and guess what? Mr. Hernandez is not there. They couldn't wait 1 hour and 18 minutes for a guy who assaulted one of your residents with a machete, choked a police officer, and then when in custody, assaulted corrections officers. That is sanctuary policy in a nutshell. And that is what your state supports, and so do these other governors. That is what is so wrong, why the American people hate this concept.
You're conflating what the state of New York does is I control state police and prisons. We have turned over 1,300 people.
So you disagree with it?
We turn over 1,300 people. Did the sheriff make the wrong call? Those are local policies that we would not have done in the state of New York. State of New York, that is a local decision. So you're saying the sheriff's wrong? I would say this, if it happened in a state prison, we have already turned over 1,300 people.
Sheriff in Tompkins County is Democrat or Republican, Governor?
There have been times, excuse me.
The sheriff in Thompson County a Democrat or Republican?
Excuse me. There have been times.
I ask the questions, you give the answer.
I'm asking
is he a Democrat or Republican?
For a second.
You know?
I'm asking for this moment to explain that I'm sometimes waiting for ICE to come pick up people. Is he a Democrat or Republican, and do you agree with the actions he took? He's a Democrat. Do you agree with the actions he took? How about that question? They are in conflict with what the state of New York would do. Well, maybe they're scared. By the way, he is a Democrat sheriff. Maybe the county guys are a little scared because you said this. I'm quoting from, it looks like the New York Times. We all know you can trust them. This is last month, May 25th. You said we have some counties that are renegade counties and work with ICE. Maybe they're nervous of being called a renegade county.
Yeah, they have her pinned to the wall. She's a fraud.